Hello everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to another video. It's about the halfway point of 2022. But yes, we are a little bit past the halfway mark of 2022, and I have given one single review. Uno. So I thought I'd let y'all in on some of my favorite records thus far in 2022. These are great records. You should check them out. Please check them out. They're in alphabetical order, so I'm not gonna give y'all any clues or any guesses onto which albums might land high or low on my year-end list. Let's get started with the list. Starting with Angel Olsen with the album Big Time, a shift into Americana music that turns out very nice. A wonderful display of Americana music that I think goes over very well in Angel Olsen's favor. I do enjoy this record more than her last album, All Mirrors, which was a pretty grand but sort of empty statement of Baroque pop. Nevertheless, this record's great. Check it out. I thoroughly enjoy it. Next, I want to give a shout out to the lengthy, ambitious, winding Beach House record, Once Twice Melody. This record is pretty much like a masterclass in dream pop because Beach House at this point have pretty much solidified themselves as one of the most definitive acts in dream pop. Again, they're just really going in on this record. It's lengthy, it's ambitious. I think its ambition does, supersede it at some points on this record. As ambitious as this record is, some of the tracks here seem superfluous. They seem a little overly ambitious on some of these songs, but nevertheless, still a great record. Definitely check this out. One of the better Beach House records. On to another overly ambitious, sprawling folk release. That is the new Big Thief album, Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You. A really nice collection of folk music from the band. The band themselves really, to me, feels as if they've kind of grown into their own. And while their previous efforts, I haven't minded, I don't love nor hate them, this record really caught my attention for being, again, ambitious, but also sprawling with different ideas, different sound design, and different palettes that you can really just dive into. This record has a little bit of everything if you really enjoy it. And if you really listen to it, you're going to find something that you like. Shout out to Big Thief for making a really nice album. Really pleasant sounding music too. And shout out to Billy Woods with Ethiopies. I believe that's how you pronounce that record. A really textured, rich, and sort of, I guess, conceptual, thoughtful, thought-provoking hip-hop record. At this point, Billy Woods has solidified himself as being one of the greater underground hip-hop artists that we have, not only in the 2010s, but at this point, this record is proving that he is getting into the 2020s seamlessly, near flawlessly. This record, to me, feels so much greater than his previous efforts, and I like the way he tackles systematic oppression of Black individuals, men, women, children on this project, and doing so with, I think, some of his wildest instrumentals yet, and doing so very cleverly. He's very witty on this album. Lyricism is top notch, and I don't think there's a single moment on this record where his spotlight is shifted towards another individual, those individuals being the features on this project. I think maybe with the exception of Despot, which overtakes the track that he's featured on, but I guess so, because, Despot doesn't really come on to albums all that often, but nevertheless, this album is just a wonderful, great collection of tracks that also flows very seamlessly from one to the next. I can go on with this record. I really do enjoy it, and I also really appreciate just how layered it is. I feel like I'm just going to be sitting here and peeling back this album every single time I listen to it, and I love that. Moving on from here, Black Country New Road, Ants from Up There. I had to shout them out. I can't say really anything anyone else hasn't said at this point. I mean, the lyricism is great, the instrumentals are fantastic. I love the change in direction, a little bit of a change in direction on this project compared to their debut. It is unfortunate that Eyez has left the band because I think that was really the definitive point of Black Country New Road. I think Eyez's vocals are really very idiosyncratic, very unique, very one of a kind, and of course his lyricism too. However, I am curious to see what Black Country New Road can evolve into in the future without Eyez. But nevertheless, I love this record, really enjoy it. Moving on, Black Dresses with the album Forget Your Own Face. One of the brightest, boldest, in-your-face releases from Black Dresses thus far. It's short, it's fiery, it's intense, it's loud, and I really do appreciate that from the duo. I really like the album, really appreciate what it has to offer, and I can't wait to see where the duo can go from here. Next up is Chelmico with the album Gokigen, if I'm pronouncing that ever so correctly. Great collection of J-pop, J-rock, fun, enjoyable, great collection of tracks. I mean, I can't really say much about this record that other than that's just a really nice album to kind of jam out to. If you're looking for some nice J-pop and J-rock to kind of lighten up your mood, this is a good record for it. Conway the Machine with God Don't Make Mistakes, another great collection of tracks from a Griselda member. But Conway the Machine really solidifies himself as being one of the better of the trio as he dives into more personal themes on this project, and the instrumentals on here are great, the lyricism fantastic, and a very consistent record at that. I love how personal he gets. That's one thing I really admire about this album. Daniel Rossen with You Belong Here, a really nice progressive folk record that is lush, layered, orchestral at some points, very personal but also very enjoyable and very nice, welcoming to the ears. The progressions of these tracks are very clean. They move. They're in no way, shape, or form meandering or lackluster. I do really like this album, and I think this is a really nice staple in the progressive folk genre. Shout out to Denzel Curry for Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. I mean, Denzel Curry, he's been such a consistent artist, which is why he's one of my favorite hip-hop artists alive today, and actively putting out music. I love the atmospheric approach that he takes on this project, especially with the song Zatoichi, easily one of my favorite songs of the year, featuring Slow Tie, which, funny enough, I really don't like Slow Tie as an artist. I find his vocal to be a little too zany for me, but I guess muddied under like a vocoder or like some layering or whatever effect that's on his voice, it mellows it out so that I can enjoy it, and he delivers a fan-fucking-tastic hook on this song. But still, nonetheless, I really appreciate the sentiments on this project. It's a conscious hip-hop record while also being very entertaining and very enthralling. Next up is Destroyer with Labyrinthitis, however you pronounce this record. Nice, fun dance tunes. Destroyer's track record throughout his catalog showcases him being quite of an eclectic artist, diving into different sounds and different genres. And seeing a sound like this is actually something that I appreciate more than not, as I really appreciate the wordy, verbose lyricism on many of the songs, while also the really fun, kind of infectious instrumentals that back the lyrics. FKA Twigs with Caprisongs, a great collection of fun, infectious tunes. I can't really say much else about this record because that's really what it is. It's just a nice collection of fun tracks. It's a fun collection of nice tracks. Next up is Jen Linkman with a reissue of a 2007 album from him with additional tracks titled The Linden Trees Are Still in Blossom. Really beautiful chamber pop and singer-songwriter music on this one. Really elegant, really wondrous, really beautiful. And I think Jen's vocals on this project are something that might be a little bit of an acquired taste to some people. They're a little upfront compared to other artists. Maybe someone like Sufjan Stevens comes to mind, where his vocals are very beautiful, very almost effervescent, and just sometimes even majestic. Jen's vocals on this record seem a little more rustic, a little more authentic, raw, but nevertheless the messages on this record are conveyed very well, very organically, and the additional tracks that are on this album really do add another dimension to this project as a whole. So yes, check this record out. I really enjoy it. Next up is the Nisha. I don't even know how to pronounce this word. Unsubscribe. It's a jazz rock record, an artist or a band from Poland. Many of the songs on this project are improvised, which is impressive because I just see this album just being so well made, so well performed, and given that, you know, the performances on here are mostly improvised, it means that the chemistry between these individuals, between these members, are so connected, they're so intertwined, that it just makes for a fantastic record. And the mixing done on this project is very clean. I love the sounds of every single instrument that is put onto this project. Yeah, great jazz rock, great jazz fusion on this project. Check it out. Shout out to my man, Perfume Genius, Mike Hadrius. For Ugly Season, I gave this record a rave review, a perfect score. So yeah, check it out, check it out. I said a lot in that review, but I will say more here because I can never not talk about this record for how fantastic it is. I love the experimentation done on this project. The immense sound design of this album is immense. The layering done on many of the songs here, the vocal performances, the concept, I guess, of it being connected to an art piece, multitude of other reasons why I love this record. I dive heavily into my review, so check it out. Check this record out too. Next up, I gotta give a shout out to Petrol Girls with the album Baby, a snarky but apt commentary on the world that we live in currently. And this record couldn't have come out at a better time. This record was released around the same time that the Supreme Court repealed Roe v. Wade. By the way, fuck the Supreme Court. I hate their guts. But yes, Petrol Girls do an amazing job with just a really great commentary on the world that we live in currently. Done very well, with great lyricism and amazing production too. The new Rei album Green, a band from Japan that specialize in dream pop and shoegaze. This record is more dream pop than anything else. There are still elements of shoegaze that come into the fold on these songs, but for the most part, it's a nice dream pop album. It's a really solid collection of tracks that flourish in the latter half of the project. The first leg of this album is not as impressive as the rest, but still I really like what's on this album. Regina Spektor coming in with her recent album Home, Before and After. A really great collection of orchestral music that is lively, that is wonderfully written, well performed. I really like the sound, I really like the style for Regina, given that her previous efforts, especially her more well-known efforts of anti-folk music and piano balladry on her last album. Really, this isn't something entirely new for her, but it's definitely a step in a different direction than anticipated. Still, what a nice album. I like the lyricism, I like the performances, I like the overall vibe of this record. I wouldn't say it's her strongest album, but it's a really nice record. Scenic Dress with Rogue Carpet Disaster, a really nice homage to the sound of post-hardcore and emo music of the 2000s. It really doesn't do anything new for the genre, it really doesn't do anything bold or adventurous, but it's just a really solid collection of tracks. It just, to me, feels as if it's just a great send-off to the genre, which is nice, because I think after a certain while, music like this needs to be put to rest. Moving beyond this record, we have the new Terno Rei album, Gêmeos. This Brazilian band specializes in alternative rock and dream rock and a little bit of like synth pop as well. A great record with these really nice reverb heavy guitar tones with this wonderful mix on this project too. But the atmospheres that are made on this album, they just feel so welcoming, so comforting. It's just overall a really nice record for me to sit in and kind of just experience. I really love this record for its aesthetic. Shout out to Taurus for the album Inside Out, a really great collection of outsider house and progressive house that in some regards reminds me of like Fortet a little bit. A lot of the songs just have this really nice, beautiful vibe to them, the really beautiful aesthetic. And the way these songs progress as house tunes just feels so natural and organic. It's as if Taurus just knew what to do with every single track, and it progressed very smoothly. And also just feels very natural sounding. Like it feels as if I'm like sitting in the middle of a field and listening to some house tunes. It just feels very nice, very clean, very wondrous, very at some points breathtaking, especially the final song on this record. Damn, what a song. Love this song. Ugh. Turning towards the more wonky electronics, I gotta give a shout out to Vale Smith for the album Corsicat. A mosaic of a record of different sounds and different styles. It's really like a kaleidoscopic look at what EDM and trap could sound like, which I do think are horrible ways to describe this record, but it's such a very unique and vast sound that it's hard to really categorize. It's wonky, it's, you know, kaleidoscopic. It's a beautiful mosaic of wonderfully well-crafted and well-produced songs that feel very free-form and flow very nicely. It's almost as if listening to this record, you're watching like pieces of a puzzle just kind of come together. And I can't wait to see where Vale Smith can go from here, because he just, to me, feels like a really exciting and really interesting artist to look out for. And a record that's coming up next is an album that blew me away when I first listened to it because of just its strange concept. It's very unique concept at that, and that is the new Violet Pony record, Can Opener's Notebook, Fish. This album is about a unicorn named Can Opener that is stuck on writer's block, and they need inspiration. There's a little more to the story than that. That's just the synopsis of it. And throughout this project, you kind of see Can Opener's discovery and process of getting out of this writer's block. And I find that such a creative way to tackle writer's block. I don't know if that was Violet Pony's intention of creating an album because they were stuck in writer's block, so they were like, I'm gonna create a record about writer's block and getting out of it. But whatever it is on this project, and whatever the concept is about, it's beautiful and it's well written too. I love the bright, bustling synths on these projects. The electronics are heavy, they're dense, at some points very loud. I get heavy Porter Robinson vibes on this project too, but in a way where I feel like they're more or less just influenced by Porter Robinson and not just merely mocking or copying what Porter Robinson does. Still, I really love a lot and a majority of this project. Again, the lyricism is great, the vocals are fantastic as well, and the sound design is also really great too. Yeah, so an album that surprised me from front to back. Yeah, this is a record that I did not expect to like as much as I do. Moving up, we have The Weeknd with DawnFM, the follow-up to his 2020 record After Hours. I think a nice follow-up, and at points I think this record does feel a little bit better than After Hours. I think thematically it's more focused. I think conceptually it's more realized than After Hours. While I do think After Hours has better bangers and better individual songs on here, I think as a holistic album experience, DawnFM really delivers. And last but not least, shout out to Gina Franza with the album Em Nome de Estrella. I can't pronounce that properly, and I took 2 years of Spanish. Granted, I failed a year. And to be fair, this is not Spanish, this is Portuguese. Again, another Brazilian artist on this list. But nevertheless, Gina Franza, amazing record, wonderful piece of R&B mixed with neo-soul and art pop, a collection of tracks that just feel so smooth, that flow very nicely. One way I can describe this record is opulent. This record just feels very rich in sound, in design, in textures, in the way that Gina's performances are just so seamless and so vibrant at some points as well. And she isn't afraid to let the instrumentals of these songs take over and take center stage. But what's also really nice is that The instrumentals are great too, and the entire record just seamlessly flows so nicely. And while it does, on the surface, seem like a collection of tracks, deep down, a lot of the songs just flow very well into one another. Everything about this record is stunning, beautiful, wonderful, well performed, well done. Even the English spoken track is well done, albeit a little repetitive. And that concludes my favorite albums list thus far this year. I can't wait to see what the other half of this year has to offer. We got some amazing releases coming up, like the new Black MIDI record that's being released very soon.
Spoiler alert, it's awesome.
The new Yeah 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 album that's going to be released in September, and a few other records. I think Rina Sawayama is going to be released sometime soon or later. I am, losing it. But nevertheless, I'm curious to know, what are some of your favorite records of this year thus far? Let me know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, share, do whatever you want. Let me know how I can improve future videos down below. And remember, this is only my opinion, because music, yes, is subjective.